So
exactly.
my thing,
how would
I know
give
where
it
you
to him?
live because I put down your down payment.
You sure did. Thank you so much for
And
that.
now that
Thank
you got
so
this
much
little
for the gift.
accident, give me my money back. That was not.
But it's
no,
okay.
you didn't. Towanda told me her lender needed to see the money in her account and that she was waiting on a check and she would be giving me my money back. I was reluctant, but I said, oh.
So my thing is, I know where you live because I put down your down payment. You sure did. Thank you so much for that. This story centers on Tamar Braxton, her sister Towanda, and a very serious $50,000 situation that no one wanted to tell straight. We're talking money moves, bankruptcy paperwork, and sisters who smile in your face while letting you take the fall. Before we dive headfirst into this chaos, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and lock in because this story goes left real fast. Now here's the setup. Before the cameras were rolling, Tamar says she gave Towanda $50,000 for a house down payment. Straight help, no games. But Towanda later denied it, and somehow Tamar ended up looking like the liar. The wild part? The rest of the sisters knew exactly what happened and still let Tamar get dragged. That's exactly how it played out. Tony, Trina, the whole circle, they knew the truth. But they still let Tamar look unstable, dramatic, and dishonest, like she was just making things up for attention. But nah, that angle doesn't hold up, because the proof tells a completely different story. And yes, the proof is solid. Tamar clearly stated on the show that she paid Towanda's down payment on a house. So I went straight to the records. I pulled the property listing, checked the realtor data, and lined it up with what was shown on the reality show. Same house, same timeline, real address, real transaction. This isn't rumor talk or internet noise. This is documented money tied to a real property that Tamar helped secure. And this is where things start getting real uncomfortable. Tamar has never hidden her mental health struggles, and that's the part that makes this hit different. She's been open, honest, and vulnerable about what she's dealt with. So watching her own sister sit there and act like she's lying adds pressure she never needed. That's not tough love, that's cold behavior. And Tony and Trina? They knew the real story, but still chose to back Towanda anyway. Make that make sense. On the show, Tamar clearly said, "I paid your down payment." And by Tamar's own words, Towanda thanked her for it. She acknowledged it. She confirmed she received the money. That wasn't confusion, that was clear as day. Now suddenly, Towanda is switching it up, calling it just a gift, and trying to rewrite the whole situation. Girl, please. And what really raised eyebrows was when a host straight up called Towanda broke and suggested she played her own sister, allegedly, of course. But after seeing the receipts, that take doesn't sound so far-fetched. Tamar even said Towanda later came into money from a lawsuit or settlement and still never paid her back. You got your coins, but couldn't return $50,000 to the sister who helped you when you were down? That's wild behavior. Now let's really break down the real estate side of this, because this is exactly where the story starts falling apart. When you buy a house, the lender checks everything. Your money has to be verified, documented, and sitting in your account before closing. No funny business, no mystery cash. Yes, family can help, but the lender still needs paperwork showing where the funds came from, who sent them, and why. So if Tamar gave Towanda $50,000, that money most likely functioned as proof of funds, meaning it was temporary support to help secure the purchase, not some random gift like Towanda is now claiming. That story doesn't line up with how real estate deals actually work. The math is off, the process is off, and the explanation feels forced. And here's where it gets even crazier. Tamar said Towanda promised to pay her back the very next day, but that repayment never happened. Instead, Tamar later discovered something shocking. She was listed as a creditor in Towanda's bankruptcy filing. Let that sink in. Now, let's be clear and fair. In general, during bankruptcy, some people list creditors so certain debts can be addressed or discharged under the law. Allegedly, some also use this move to avoid paying money back. That means the lender or institution walks away clean, while the person who is owed is left empty-handed. It's legal paperwork, but the impact can still hurt. And in this situation, It raises serious questions that can't be ignored. Now here's where the receipts really start talking. I'm looking at the bankruptcy documents, and Tamar's name is right there, listed in the filing. This isn't opinion. This isn't back-and-forth storytelling. These are public records filed with the court, plain and simple. That alone backs up what Tamar has been saying this whole time. And the timeline is what makes this look even more suspect. Towanda bought the house in 2018. Then, in April 2019, she filed for bankruptcy. That's not even a full year later. So the picture being painted is this. Money comes in from her sister, the house gets secured, and then bankruptcy paperwork pops up, with Tamar listed as a creditor. Allegedly, that move could block repayment. If that's not calculated behavior, it definitely raises serious red flags. It honestly looks like Towanda may have never planned to pay Tamar back from the start. That's hard to ignore when you line everything up. And here's another detail that doesn't sit right. Tamar says the amount was $50,000, while Towanda keeps saying it was only $35,000. Girl, please. You know what explains that gap? Interest. If money was borrowed back in 2018 and repayment was expected years later, that number could easily climb, especially if Tamar had proof the money was meant to be repaid. The pieces are fitting together a little too cleanly. This was never a gift, and the paperwork makes that clear as day. For Towanda to sit there and say, oh, it was a gift, while bankruptcy records tell a completely different story, that's a bold-faced lie. That's not confusion. That's gaslighting your own sister and hoping nobody checks the facts. Now let's talk about the family dynamics, because the jealousy runs deep. Towanda tried to flip the narrative, claiming Tamar just offered to help, like nobody even asked her. She tried to make it sound like Tamar was being controlling or doing too much. But hold up, this is the same sister Tamar has helped over and over again. Tamar was allegedly paying Towanda's phone bills, multiple lines, not just one. Towanda was using Tamar's credit card for up to 6 phone lines. 6? That's not borrowing. That's straight up using someone and getting way too comfortable. And here's the part that really sets things off. Towanda had the nerve to play victim, acting like Tamar was wrong for calling it out. Calling out what looks like theft. Tamar had every right to speak up. Real talk. She showed restraint. But instead of backing the person who lost money, Trina, Tony, and even their mother, Evelyn, defended Towanda. They took her side completely. There was even talk about calling the police on Tamar, the one who got taken advantage of. How do you protect the person doing the damage and turn the victim into the villain? That logic is upside down and wild. This whole situation screams jealousy, favoritism, and dysfunction. Towanda tried to deflect by bringing up how Tony asked about Tamar staying in her condo. Like that somehow balances the scale. Sis, be serious. There's a huge difference between asking a question about staying somewhere and taking cash plus running up credit cards. Those two things are not in the same universe. One is a conversation, the other crosses serious lines. You can't compare them, bundle them together, or use one to excuse the other. Bringing it up only looks like a distraction tactic, a way to pull focus away from your own mess, because the heat got too real. And here's what really gets under the skin. Tony and Trina knew what was going on. They knew about the credit card situation and still chose to defend Towanda. Tony even admitted on the show that she knew about it, which means this wasn't confusion or hearsay. They all knew the truth and still decided to protect Towanda instead of holding her accountable. That's not family unity. That's enabling behavior. That's being complicit and calling it love. And Tony's reaction, smirking while saying, "Family helps each other," was wild. So now, taking $50,000, filing bankruptcy, and running up charges on your sister's card is considered help? No, ma'am. That's taking advantage. And Tony's smug attitude just proves this family has deep loyalty issues. They'd rather shield the person doing wrong than stand up for the one who got done dirty. But here's the line Tamar said that sent chills all the way through me. "You don't want to go blow for blow with me. I know where the bodies are buried." That wasn't a joke, that was a warning. Tamar has way more receipts, way more proof, and way more secrets that these sisters pray never see daylight. She's basically saying, I stayed quiet. I played nice. But keep pushing me and everything comes out. And honestly, after watching them twist the story and paint her as a liar, it wouldn't surprise anyone if she finally lets it all fly. She was telling the truth the whole time. And I'm not letting Tamar get slapped with a liar label, not today. Let's recap the facts one last time. If you disagree, say that too. I'll be back with more deep dives, more receipts, and more celebrity drama. Until next time, stay informed, stay sharp, and I'll see you on the next one.